Hey folks, I think we're broadcasting. From what I'm seeing though, the bitrate seems really bad. Is the video quality really bad? What is going on there? Huh. Y'all seeing that too? Or is it stabilizing? Or are you reading me at all? Maybe I'm not even broadcasting. How you doing, Nemesis? Shavel? Salut? Right in. What's up, buddy? Arthur, secret character. How is everyone? It's grainy, right? What is up with the video quality? Huh. My output is set to 3500, a bitrate of 3500. I don't understand why it would be bad. It seems like a YouTube problem. That's weird. Like, it's definitely worse than on Twitch, right? You might hear my laptop fan spinning up. I just want to check to make sure I have the same settings. I should have the same settings across both. But how's the audio? Can you hear me 5x5? Only 2 viewers? That's you and me, Nem. Twitch is better, huh? Huh. Why would that be the case? Okay. I have not done a live stream on YouTube in years. I think, man. Audio is great, same as on Twitch. Okay, that's good. It's good. Huh. Alright, so what is up with... What if I change this to 1080? Oh, does that help a bit? Maybe. If you manually change the stream quality to 1080 on your end, it seems to help a bit, but still not great. It's better. Shavel is also showing as another in the viewer list, but maybe he disconnected. Could be. Could be. Let's see here. So, basically the point of today is to do our Q&A live, but we can just kind of chat about whatever. I don't think we got many questions on the Patreon side of things. That's my bad. I didn't. I kind of posted on the same day that I posted a bunch of other stuff on Patreon, so I think it kind of got lost in the deluge of Patreon posts. But I mean, I guess here. Okay, so if I'm looking at my Twitch settings, if I go to stream, well, it's the same thing. If I go to output, yeah, it's the same thing. I have no idea why. Is YouTube just worse quality streaming, period? My settings are the same. Huh. Oh, well. I guess I'll try to look into that for next time. I don't know what I can do, actually. 720 to 1080 is a notable difference, but something is more grainy, maybe compression. I guess that just comes down to YouTube, then. Unless there's some setting that I am unfamiliar with in my OBS, but... Seems like it should all be basically the same. Oh well. Oh, well. So, we'll dive into, I guess, we're gonna eventually answer the question that Silly God posted here. I think it was just the one question this time. Again, my bad for being late and kind of posting about the Q&A. I typically give people like a 1 week heads up. This time it was fewer days, and again, I posted on the same day as 2 other posts, so. But otherwise, if there's anything else that we want to discuss, feel free to bring anything up, Nem. How you doing? So, Silly God's question here. I can't attend, but I did want to ask, and I probably haven't done my research, so apologies in advance if this has been asked. That's no worries. I don't mind if people ask the same questions. Do you ever have a lottery or contest or random pick of Patreon supporters to run Greater Rifts, bounties, etc. with you? Because I'd like to get in on that. Thank you and have a good Q&A. Hope I can make the next one. So actually, what we do, so we don't do kind of like raffles like that. or lottery. But when I do play Diablo 3, I almost always play with viewers. And, you know, whether that's power leveling people or whatever the case is, you know, is what we do. Now, Patreon supporters at the Veteran Raider Tier 1 level or higher are able to, once a month, reserve a spot in-game. So if on a Friday I'm going to be doing Diablo 3, then you can just, you message me either on Patreon or send me a message on Discord, and we schedule you in, and we play together. Otherwise, the way we do it is through coins. So by watching stream, you gain coins, and then we do coin auctions for the in-game spots. So people can use the coins that they get from watching stream to bid and win the spot in-game and join me in-game. And sometimes, or actually often over time, people would like win a spot, but then give it away to someone. So that's kind of a sort of lottery or contest, you can say. But we definitely, we haven't been playing much Diablo 3 lately, so we haven't been playing with viewers much lately. But once Diablo 3 spins up again, which PTR starting on Friday, April 5th, definitely going to start playing with viewers again. Shavel, how you doing? Yeah, where's Rhykker about when you need him? There we go. So, I'm not sure if you can tell, but I'm wearing my regular Rhykker hat here. I have two hats. I have the hat that I wear out in public, which is this one, and then my streaming and recording cap, which is... let me just go ahead and grab that. Where did I put it? That's where I left it. So, and I'll explain why I do this. Oh boy, there's so much in the way. Because my room is currently filled with foam. Bass traps and acoustic foam. Like such. Is this working? Did the stream stop? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No, it's still working. Okay, there's just a big delay. Wow, that's a big delay. Huh. Okay. Yeah, so this is my regular hat. It is printed reversed. Why? Because my camera is there. When I face my monitor, I face that way. And so when I'm streaming, that means I have to put myself, well, what corner do I put myself in? If I'm facing this way, right? I prefer to be in the bottom left corner, so that corner there. But if I'm facing that direction, it looks like I'm like facing a wall, which I felt, it just seemed really, I don't know, weird. I used to try putting myself in this corner instead and facing out that way. That was, I guess still weird. I don't know. Why did I stop doing that way? I forget why exactly I stopped doing that way. But I kind of just preferred facing, no, that, wait, it's all mirrored now. So facing that direction. So I would flip my camera and to put myself in that corner. But then when I started doing the hat, I'm like, well, the hat's backwards. So I printed a backwards cap, which is what I use for the recordings. Nobody puts Rhykker in the corner, exactly now. Yeah, we got the Raider banner over there. That's from, that's the Patreon 2017 banner. And, oh, do I have the post? Where do I have the poster? Oh, wait, is this? No, hold on. It's not this one, right? Oh, it might be. Come on. It is the poster. For 2018, we did the poster, which you folks could all buy. That's this, right? It'd be funny if it's not. It's not. No, I don't know. It's gotta be. It must be the poster. That didn't work out the way I wanted it to. The unfurling. Yeah, these are available in the shop. In shop number 2. We have 2 shops. Yeah, this is the 2018 poster, which was meant to kind of be like your own Raider banner that you can own. So yeah, they come pretty big, giggity. I'm not too sure how to where I can put it for now. So I just sort of had it. Come on. Well, I mean, you get the idea of what to expect on it. How do I? If I do this, will that help with the unfurling? Maybe. That actually does help, yes. There we go. So, obviously you can see some similar names, but we definitely have more names on this one than the banner over there. But I dare say that, well, in some ways, this one is cooler because of the textured background. Obviously that one's cooler because it's an actual flag, but unfortunately we can't kind of custom print banners. Yeah. So that's the poster. It is, nope, there's no dimensions there. Oh, it's in the shop. There's 2 different sizes, I think. Let's see here. Yeah, we gotta upload more of the emotes. Shavel Singh, if you had the opportunity and the money, in which country would you live in, and why? So if money were not an object, where would I live? That's a tough question. It's not something I've really reflected on much because money is an object, but I mean, I enjoy Canada. The only thing I don't enjoy about Canada is winter. But otherwise, I love Canada. I thought about, like, man, it would be great to live in, like, California, where it's basically just perpetually amazing weather. But this winter was a lot better on me. Now that we have the condo and I kept my car in a garage all winter, in our garage, didn't have to deal with shoveling snow, didn't have to deal with getting snow off the car, didn't have to deal with the car getting stuck in snow. I'm appreciating winter a lot more. I can't say I love winter, but I hate winter less. Other than that, I haven't been to many places, so it's hard to pick a country to live in if I haven't, been there. So I don't know. Where would you, Shavel? Now I'm saying maybe psych thing where you would also be facing the standard chat area that is on the right side of the Twitch page. Yeah, could be. That makes sense. Good call, Nem. Need to negative roll it to uncurl it. Yeah, I don't want to like bend it, so I think I'm going to try to do that like on a flat surface rather than kind of in the air, and then I make a crease and I'm like, oh no. Oh, that's fair, Shavel, but it's still, I mean, I don't know, maybe I haven't had a poster in a long time, but it's bigger than any, it's more that it's wide, but, yeah. Garage is a big plus, wish I had one myself. Oh, yeah. So, our garage space, I don't know if you guys remember, like in summer, I was like bringing this up on stream, like how we got suddenly very paranoid. So for anyone who's unaware, we bought a condo this year, Bankisha and I. First time that we own property, well, or we'll own it in 30 years. But one thing that was a mandatory on my list was to have a garage, because just the amount of money having to be spent on car maintenance and car repairs, and just the sheer stress. Like in general, having an indoor garage adds maybe about $20,000 on the price of a place around here. But plus, it helps for resale too. It's not like it's a waste. It was one of my must-haves. You know, we kind of, like, when we were shopping, we had lists of, like, must-haves and would-likes. And to me, a garage was one of the few must-haves on my list. But as we were checking out this condo, we were looking at the pictures again, and we suddenly became paranoid about there not being enough space to park, because the spaces are quite narrow. And to the left and to the right, our neighbors have minivans. Now, I have a Hyundai Accent, so it's not a big car, thankfully. But was very concerned about, and I should stress as well that, so there's 6 parking spots and 3 two-door garages. So we share a 2-door garage with a neighbor. Meaning the garage door opens, and if the neighbor's already parked, I have to squeeze in through the side of the garage door and the neighbor. And the way the lines are drawn, my spot, so if this is the garage door, my parking spot goes from here to beyond the garage door. And I have to be, like, the distance is not sufficient for me to park within the garage door. I have to park like that. So I have to come in at this angle like that and then come in through the garage door. So it's like, when we realized that, we almost backed out of buying the place. But we were kind of like, we were assured by the lady, like, oh, no, like, I have a van. I've never had any problems with the parking spot. Yeah, we bought the place and found out that she did have problems with the parking spot. Her and the neighbor got into fights over the parking spot. They, like, repainted the lines and stuff. It was a big problem, but of course she wanted to sell the place. Regardless, I'm still happy. Yeah, it's a little bit. At the start, it was a little bit stressful navigating, like, reversing, and especially having to, like, narrowly dodge the neighbor car and whatever. And anytime I have, like, when I'm getting out, I'm like, thank God I'm not, you know, I'm a relatively small person, because I gotta, like, squeeze up between the 2 cars. And, you know, for my neighbor, it's even worse because he's up against the wall. In fact, he parks his car near a door leading into a storage space, like a closet, and they keep that door open so that the car door can open into the closet. Otherwise, he would literally not be able to get out of his car. So it's quite cramped, but I'm still very happy. Just having a garage. Oh my God. Just the quality of life makes it worth it. Even the slight inconvenience of navigating the parking situation. Like, it's, you know, it's more trouble when we have groceries and stuff, but still, very happy. Shivel saying, I don't own a car anymore, so not having a garage doesn't bother me anyway. Well, I remember your story about what happened to your car. Thank God you're okay. Nem saying, yeah, I remember you made a test parking. That's true. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that's how they got us to go for it. They reassured us. Yeah. Now, throughout this entire time that we've been moved in, our neighbors beside us have not been living there. So that the condo next door has been rented, and the neighbors were away in China for the entire time. Months. And now finally they moved out, and now new tenants moved in. And so the previous tenants, they had a minivan, or an SUV, rather, parked in their spot, which is next to ours. So when they moved out, finally that spot freed up, so we had more room on one side. Like, oh, thank God. And like, oh man, like, hopefully the new neighbors don't have a car, or they have a small car. Another SUV. Another SUV. But, you know, at least it's not worse than what it previously was. Mega Joe, how you doing, man? What's up, Mega Joe? We're just chatting here. If you have any questions or discussion topics you'd like to raise, feel free. Stream usually takes 6 hours. What's that face? Where'd you get that face from? Full moon with face, huh? Full moon with face equals the kappa? YouTube doesn't have a kappa? Okay, I gotta upload the right kappa then. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. But yeah, you might notice that I have my mic tilted slightly towards me now. And I have been struggling. Ever since getting this new mic, I have been struggling to get the sound right. To get things sounding like equal to or superior to how they used to sound on the Yeti, which broke down. This mic, in theory, is better than the Yeti, but we've had sort of people have disagreeing notions on whether it sounds better or not. And one issue was hissing and plosives, the S's and the plosives. I read that, well, someone told me that this angling it slightly this way or slightly that way might help. I think this helps. I don't know for sure. But I have been troubleshooting like every single video, every single stream. I've been like troubleshooting to try to get the mic sounding as good as it can. Part of it is the processing. I have a mixer now. So for this stream, I have the compressor on. I have some equalization, which I think helps. The worst part is that I apparently don't have a good ear for this stuff. So, it's difficult for me to be like, okay, does this sound better or does this sound worse or does this sound the same? Well, I can generally tell when it sounds different, but I can't tell if it sounds different better or different worse. That's the problem. That's the main issue. Even though now I use these cans here, which give pretty good sound. Like, you know, I only realized how bad my S's were when I was in the bathroom and Bankisha was playing one of my videos, or my latest video at the time, on her speakers, and from in the bathroom, all I was hearing was like, holy shit, that's bad. That's bad. And I'm saying sound now sounds crisp. Do you feel like there's a difference in like now, as in the new mic has always sounded crisp, or this sounds crisper than the new mic sounded at some other point? Because then there's also two things that happen. There's my live sound quality, and then there's my recorded sound quality. So on the Yeti, I feel that my YouTube video sound quality was always better than my stream sound quality, because on stream I could not process the audio in any way. So, but in YouTube, I would, in Audacity, I would do some compression and some equalization to make the vocals pop. On this mic, I now have a mixer, so I could do that on streams as well. So a mixer is on the hardware end of things, adding compression and equalization. It's not an amazing mixer, so I don't have very fine control over any of that stuff, but in theory, using some compression and EQ should make the sound better, than how it is just by default. But if you use these things incorrectly, then it makes it sound worse. I am not an audio engineer, so I've been troubleshooting. I've been trying out a bunch of different things, from mic position to different processing and EQ and all this stuff. I'm hoping to be able to dial it in at some point. I was hoping I would have dialed it in within a week or two max. It's been weeks now. I just want to have good audio again. I have to admit, like, a part of me is like, should I just buy another Yeti? All right, let's see. Shavel's saying, okay, we had an interesting subject with one of my students. Ooh. Do you think an android... Oh, like not an android like this, an android as in a human-like robot, can have sentiments and feelings? Oof, that is a deep topic, and we will discuss that. First, I just see Nemesis has something that's maybe a little faster to reply to. Discussion topic, Gamescom. You talked with SVR about a potential visit. Just talk so far, more serious considerations. It's something I would like to do, but we have a lot of expenses this year. Like, we just bought a condo. It's been a tough year on the wallet. We are probably or possibly going to ExileCon, actually. That's in mid-November. So that's going to be a trip if it happens. ExileCon being the Path of Exile convention. Then, you know, there's BlizzCon, which is early November. I'm not sure if we're going to that, but I feel a lot more people will be disappointed if we don't go to BlizzCon than if we don't go to other conventions. So, as of right now, my only real incentive to go to BlizzCon 2019 is the folks. And not to say that like I actively don't want to go, but like I am convinced. I believe more than I believe not that Diablo 4 will be revealed this BlizzCon. So even despite that, even if there's going to be a playable demo for Diablo 4, I'm still like that. I'm at a point now where I guess hype-wise, so there's some tipping point, right? Like between excitement to experience that and expenses and what traveling takes out of me. Like I get sick after every convention. Generally throughout the year, what's happened is in the past couple of years actually is like as the new year starts, like my desire to go to BlizzCon is less than the different things keeping me back. But as the year progresses, I think my desire to go rises as I think more folks are kind of like getting excited about going to BlizzCon and stuff. And so we'll probably, even though like as of right now, I'm not like, oh, I really want to go to BlizzCon this year, we'll probably end up going to BlizzCon this year. Nothing for sure though, like no plans have been arranged. So given that those two trips are probably happening, adding in Gamescom as well, it's a bit tough. So I don't know. No concrete plans on going to Gamescom. Okay, let's see here. Nem saying, reminds me of a Doctor Who after he regenerated from 9th to 10th, asking, how do I look? Different. Good different or bad different? Just different. Yeah. My big concern with getting a new mic was that I would sound different. That's actually, I feel that's a fear of a lot of content creators. Grade A Under A. I don't know if y'all know who Grade A Under A is, but like his videos would get tons of views. And I don't know if I haven't watched any of his stuff in like a year or more, but he was for the longest time using this super crappy ghetto mic. Because my understanding is he was terrified that if he were to upgrade to a new mic, he would sound different and then people would stop watching his stuff. That like to some degree his charm lay in how he sounded, and part of that came from the mic specifically. Yeah, so it's definitely it was a concern for me. It's still a concern. But yeah. Do you think an android, as in a human-like robot, can have sentiments and feelings? So that's a deep question. I believe that they can have things that emulate sentiments and feelings. And then that gets down to, well, what is a human? What is a genuine emotion versus a fake emotion? What is a soul? It's a metaphysical discussion, because on a physical level, I would say they are perfectly capable of emulating. That AI technology can get to a point where, yes, an android would be able to emulate any human emotion, but is that the same as actually having emotions? Well, what are human beings? On a physical level, there's nothing metaphysical about us, right? So from a purely scientific level, it seems like given the proper technology, we should be able to build a human being. But if you want to get into the metaphysics of it, then, well, you know, that's a different thing. And I think Star Trek has actually done a wonderful job of exploring the philosophy of what is it to be human. You know, Voyager is one of the Star Treks I watch the most, and like the Doctor, the hologram, who's not quite an android, but I mean he's an AI. For all intents and purposes, is the same thing, except even more so removed because he's just AI. There's no physical body there. He's just light, projections of light. Yeah, no, I think that in the future, depending on how AI evolves, and given that we're not making any attempts to curtail scientific advances, we're going to get to a point where AI will become sufficiently advanced to seem human and to deceive humans. What is it? The test. What is that AI something? The Turing test. Yeah. Turing test is going to be passed for sure. So these are questions we're going to have to face in the future. You know, like, and that's the beauty of sci-fi. Real science fiction, not just science fiction used as decoration, which I love as well. As lasers, guns, and spaceships are super cool, but the real heart of science fiction was always about exploring questions that are fundamentally important to the human condition. That's why a lot of the more classic sci-fi stories of the 1900s, Asimov and Clarke, Arthur C. Clarke, you know, they explored these topics while telling a great story, but they're not just stories, they're ideas, and they make us reflect on, well, yeah, what will things be? How will we, you know, act like that? Should we do this? Should we not do this? That's the mark of like really great and real science fiction. There's this quote from a parody episode in Stargate SG-1 that ended with the guy who was pretending to be Teal'c ended the episode with some really great line. I think he was quoting Asimov or Clarke. If we are to, the quote is, it's an Asimov quote. Hold on. Yeah, so individual science fiction stories may seem as trivial as ever to the blinder critics and philosophers of today, but the core of science fiction, its essence, the concept around which it revolves, has become crucial to our salvation if we are to be saved at all. Asimov, man. So Asimov, is, in case you're unaware, he's the one who coined the 3 laws of robotics, right? Because he figured that as robots evolve, you know, we're gonna face the problem of, well, at some point robots are gonna gain a mind of their own, and they could potentially revolt. So how can we stop that? What would humans do to stop that? And so 3 laws of robotics basically is something that is a core fundamental principle programmed into the AI of a robot. First law is a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. Number 2, a robot must obey orders given it by human beings except when such orders would conflict with the first law. And 3, a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. And so the story I, Robot revolves entirely around exploring those 3 laws and what could happen when, I guess, loopholes are found. The movie was okay. I can't say I've read the original story by Asimov, but I think the movie did a decent job. You know, I don't think it'll live on in history as one of the great classic sci-fi movies, but I think it did a good job of conveying the bigger ideas. What do you think, Shavel? Do you think androids can have sentiments and feelings? Nem saying YouTube video with new mics sometimes have varying sound quality. Yeah, yeah. I'm trying. I'm trying to dial it in properly. Oh shit! It's true. Yeah, yeah. That's true, Nem. It's gonna be right around that time. My dad, if I go to ExileCon, my dad's gonna be so jealous because he loves New Zealand, only because of like the landscape, like Lord of the Rings stuff. Like I love Lord of the Rings as well, so I'd be happy to do the Lord of the Rings tour if we can. But Mega Joe saying, have you ever went to an anime convention? Just got back from my first one in Minneapolis. I have. I had not before I met Bunkisha, but I've been to 2 or 3 otaku-thons with her. It's held here in Montreal in August, and it's remarkable. It's a remarkably large convention. Yeah, I'm not as into anime as she is, but I've gone more into it thanks to her. Before her, my exposure to anime was basically as a kid, like the Pokemon cartoons, but I don't think that really counts. Although the Pokemon songs was a big hit at those conventions. Also because Pokemon Go was a thing at the time, but I digress. I'd say my real anime experiences before I met Bunkisha were Cowboy Bebop, phenomenal anime, and Escaflowne. Escaflowne was my first, I think, and I really, really, really liked it. It is super old and dated now. I tried to watch, because Bunkisha's never seen it. Bunkisha has watched literally hundreds of anime. She hasn't seen Escaflowne, and I tried to watch it with her, but it's really clear how dated it is visually. I don't know that she can enjoy it. But I really enjoyed Escaflowne. Yeah, and then like more recently, I really liked, well, Sword Art Online, parts of Sword Art Online I really liked. Other parts I disliked, and yeah. There was something really interesting in some of the earlier episodes, I feel. Attack on Titan was super cool until I got antsy, impatient, and I read ahead synopses of the manga to see where the story goes, and now I'm like, oh okay. Don't spoil it for yourselves, folks, if you haven't. What other anime have I really liked? I don't remember now. It's been a little while. Oh, shit. One I liked so much I've watched it like 3 times. Death Note. I really, really, really like Death Note. The Netflix movie is god-awful, though. Oh, my goodness. Don't ever watch that. Kenneth Brandt. How you doing, man? Good evening to you. Nemesis saying, in my opinion, emotions are just connections of memory, like current, etc. Yeah, so like by that definition, if a brain is just a computer, there's some science fiction actually tackles building robots or computers out of organic things. The way like a human, so like you would literally build a human robot, and then it's like, well, at what point is it a human robot, and at what point is it an actual human? You know, what's the difference between a manufactured human and an authentic human? And obviously, like, you know, if you tackle any like religious aspect or metaphysical aspect, then like that's I guess there could be a more clear-cut answer there, like. But from the purely scientific aspect, yeah, or even philosophical. Oh, Kenneth, what's your screen name? Nem saying, in Perry Rotem, German sci-fi novels, they have these so-called positronic bionic robots with organic plasma. They have Borg cube-like spaceships, but they were invented in the 1960s. Nice. Try Bleach or Tokyo Ghoul. Okay. I think I heard about... Oh, Scotty! Oh. Let me hit show. There we go. Scotty, how you doing, Scotty? I think Tokyo Ghoul... Of those two, I think Tokyo Ghoul interested me more. At least from the visual, it seemed. Yeah, it's the one with like the crazy face guy. The ghoulish face. What is Bleach? I don't know. Well, I know what... Clorox Bleach. No, Bleach the anime. Is it pronounced Bleach or bleh? Bleh. Interesting. Okay, I don't think I actually know anything about Bleach. I've heard people mention Bleach the anime, but I don't know anything about it. Tokyo Ghoul is very horror. Sold. What is Bleach about? Blech is German. German for what? Now I'm saying when I had to think of a name for me, I took the villain from Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs. Interesting. Well, I mean, Nemesis itself means villain, in a sense. What's your favorite, or what are your favorite animes, Scotty? Well, I mean, I guess it's Tokyo Ghoul and Bleach, if you're suggesting those. Unless you were trying to tailor based on what you think I would like. I'm wondering what the Diablo Netflix series is going to be like. I suspect that it's going to be like the Castlevania series. Well, first off, I suspect that this is going to be a real thing, and I suspect it's going to be like Castlevania, which I kind of describe as Western anime? Is that fair to say? Like it feels like it's trying to be anime, but it's drawn in a more Western style. I don't know. Does that make sense? Let me just. It's been a while. I watched maybe the first episode or up to the second, and I couldn't even get through the whole thing. It's not a criticism of it, because it was well received, but I don't know. It didn't grip me for whatever reason. Maybe I was just tired or something. I got to give it another try. Yeah. So looking at it again, it definitely does feel like it has that anime feel to it, but there's something. I don't know. Maybe it is just anime. Blech is a metal sheet. Okay. But yeah, so I hear Castlevania was really well received. It's a Netflix original, and I could imagine that the Diablo series would be drawn in that same style, because we have had, look up Diablo Wrath on YouTube. We had that animation, right? So it feels like that's probably what we're gonna get as well. They're not going to do a full-on CG thing. That would be amazing. I would love it. I love Blizzard cinematics. That's one thing that I don't think Blizzard has ever disappointed. It's in the visual quality of their cinematics, and they outsource that, to my understanding. Ken is saying, my all-time favorite is Naruto, then Bleach, Black Clover, and a bunch more. So I've heard of Naruto. Black Clover I'm not familiar with. Black Clover. Let's see here. Oh, that looks cool. This looks like Tokyo Ghoul. He's got the same mask, like Tokyo Ghoul. What it? Wait, actually, I'm sure the Bunkisha would know all of these. Just an FYI. This does look... Wait, is this related to Naruto? Or is there someone in it that looks like a guy from Naruto? Huh. Mega Joe saying, like Dead Space Western anime? Dead Space Western anime. What is that? Dead Space Western. Let me see. Dead Space Western anime. Oh, I've never seen this. Wait, this is based on Dead Space? Holy crap. What? Oh, damn, I gotta see this now. Wait. Hold on. No. Dead Space Downfall? Dead Space... Or Dead Space Aftermath? Yeah, Dead Space Downfall. So looking at the screenshots of that, Dead Space Downfall just looks like Western animation to me, as opposed to Western anime. So I should say cartoon, like a Western cartoon. Whereas, like, when I say anime, I guess I'm referring to, like, Eastern cartoons. I know that some people get offended when if you refer to anime as a cartoon, but... Nem saying, when I was a child, we just watched animated shows not knowing that those are called anime. Well, so... I mean, you probably were watching cartoons. I could be wrong, but my understanding is that anime just refers to, like, specifically cartoons from a specific origin. Yeah. Kenneth Brandt saying, looks alike but two different animes. Okay, of the ones you were naming, Naruto, Bleach, Black Clover, gotcha. Okay. But, like, to me, I don't know, like, if I see a screenshot of a character from anime, I could be like, yeah, that's anime versus that's Western animation. That's anime versus cartoon, if you want to make that delineation. And I think, it's interesting. Well, I find it really interesting that the different cultures, like, evolved to depict human features differently. Right? Because anime has a distinct style with, you know, sort of the pointed chin, the pointed nose, the eyes a certain way. At least to me, like, that's a big differentiating factor when I see anime. I'm like, okay, that's kind of like the calling signs that I look for. Whereas I can't quite describe Western animation because I'm just more accustomed to it. So, because that's what I grew up with. But in both cases, obviously, you're working off simplified depictions of the human form and the human face, because, you know, it's a lot more expensive and time-consuming to very, very, very accurately draw out, you know, a face. But also, it's about you know, choosing what features to exaggerate and what is that expression when you make a caricature? Yeah. Scotty saying cartoon is okay. All right. Now I'm saying they were actually Japanese origin. Just looked it up from now Nippon Animations. Nippon meaning Japan, right? In Japanese? Okay. Oh man, how do I pronounce your name? Ian Stanley? Ian? Oh, is it Ian? Sorry, Ian Stanley? Death Nobes. I can call you Death Nobes. How you doing, bud? Just wanted to say what's up. Just joined the feed. How's it going so far? Going great. We're having some talks. If you want to join in the discussion or raise any discussion topics or questions, feel free. We'll be going for another about 12 minutes or so. Or was it Ella? No. Okay. Yeah. Vicky the Viking, Maya the Little Bee, Heidi. Huh. Interesting. Oh man, I forgot Sailor Moon. I think growing up, Sailor Moon was probably... Not that I really watched it. I mean, I definitely didn't watch Sailor Moon. No, I would never do that. No. We caught 4 TV stations. I didn't catch Sailor Moon. Growing up, we had 4 TV stations. 2 of them were in French. 2 were in English. So, my Saturday morning cartoons were often in French. So instead of DuckTales, we had La Bande à Piscou, if I remember correctly. DuckTales? Yeah. La bande à Picsou. No, Picsou, not Piscu. Picsou. La bande à Picsou. The same cartoon, just localized to French. And, okay, it's pronounced... Oh, it's the Gaelic version. That's so cool. Oh, man. Do you know any Gaelic? La bande à Picsou? Oh, yeah, Shavel. We had Asterix and Obelix, of course. What else? What other cartoons do we have? It's been so long. So back in high school, my English teacher was Mr. O'Neill, Irish descent, and one assignment, he had us memorize the poem I Am Ireland in both English and the original Gaelic. Misha Aira. Shenamanan Chalik Baira. Mui Magloira. Yeah. It was pretty cool, though. Isn't the one actor from Game of Thrones also named Ian? Probably. Ian Glenn, Jorah the Andal. Ah. Sir Jorah. Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Man, Game of Thrones, Season 8. It's going to be sad when it ends. I wonder... Nah, I was going to say, I wonder if when it ends, then we wait the next 30 years for the books to finish, and then they kind of reboot it and do it like the way the books are written instead of how they had to make the show go. On the Sailor Moon note, don't forget about Dragon Ball. So I never caught Dragon Ball on TV, but my neighbor had like 1 million of the Dragon Ball manga. In retrospect, that was super freaking cool of him. My neighbor, so he was like one of my best buddies growing up. Super awesome dude, but like very, 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 very stereotypically Canadian Italian. Or Canadian, Italian Canadian or Italian American, like sports guy. Like in no way would you think that this guy is a nerd or anything like that, a geek. But he owned all the Dragon Ball, or a ton of the Dragon Ball manga. It just dawned on me now how like cool that was of him. But yeah, he lent them all to me, so I read them all. Oh, man. This was like the Cell arc. Cell and Boo. I think his books covered those arcs. I thought Cell was such a cool... Now, you know what? I think... Oh, maybe I watched them at his place then, the anime? No, I think I did catch it sometimes, the Dragon Ball anime. But, like, I thought Cell was a really cool villain. Obviously, Vegeta is, like, a really cool dude in general. Scotty's saying, I'm the 1% who hasn't seen Game of Thrones. All right, dude, here's what you're going to do. You're going to wait for Season 8 to finish, and then unless it's something that sounds thoroughly unappealing to you, just go nuts, binging, starting from Season 1. It's a really great show. I held off for so long on Game of Thrones because I'm... Like, so it was years ago that it came out, and like when Season 1 came out, even up to like Season 2, like people were so like, oh, Game of Thrones, oh my God, like flipping out about Game of Thrones, and I was very like counterculture, and I'm like... This makes me less interested because so many people like it. But I ended up taking the plunge and I did not regret it. I read the first book. The first book was great. I never got around to reading the other books, but in general, people say the books are better. But if you would rather watch things, then the TV shows are great. Nem saying, Acidix is great. I always say I work at the house that makes people crazy from Acidix movie. Ah. More importantly, 3 weeks and 1 day till Endgame. Yeah, Avengers Endgame. It's crazy that it's so recently. Or so soon, rather. I feel like it was just like a couple months ago that the last movie came out. I don't mean, when I say last movie, I don't mean, what's her face? Captain Marvel? I haven't seen that one yet. The one where everyone got dusted, basically. Death Note saying in Australia, we had Cheese TV in the morning, which ran Dragon Ball every day for years. There's not a guy my age, 33, who wasn't late for school the day Goku went Super Saiyan. Nice. Mega Joe, Dragon Ball forever. Oh, yeah. And I'm saying I like Dragon Ball until DBZ when he finished Freezer. Freezer or Frieza? I don't know why I always thought it was Frieza. Yeah, F-R-I-E-Z-A in English. Or I don't know what language. Whatever. Yeah, he was a cool villain too. After that I got more and more elongated. Okay. Secret character also hasn't watched Game of Thrones. Y'all are in for a treat. Man. Even Mega Joe. Okay. Interesting. Well, I mean, so, okay. I don't know how much you know about Game of Thrones. Maybe you've already determined that it's not for you or you're not interested or whatever. But if it's because you're not too sure what it's about, it is a fantasy tale. It's a fantasy story, but it is very much about the power dynamics and politics of a struggle for control of the realm, a struggle for the crown. And that might sound super boring, but it's not, because the characters, because it's a really cutthroat game. Like, they call it the Game of Thrones because it's about playing the politics of becoming king or otherwise ruling. But it's not like boring ass modern politics. It's like assassination, you know, political sabotage kind of, you know, politics. And there's so many disparate factions and disparate characters with questionable motivations. Like, you have the characters that are definitely like the good guys that you want to root for. They're kind of the underdog. But then you have other characters that are like just really good villains, and sometimes you're rooting for the villain because they're such a good villain. And then you have the villains that you just absolutely hate. But like, there's so many like power plays going on, and in the background, there's this whole big fantasy story happening with dragons and undead, which becomes more prevalent and more meaningful as we get towards Endgame. But the start kind of like just hints at all that crazy fantasy stuff, but then presents a mostly kind of like medieval setting with, yeah. It's, there's a reason it became so popular. Even amongst like, so, oh man, that's the big thing. A fantasy TV series was basically rating suicide for the longest time. I can't think of a fantasy series that got really big to the point of being mainstream pop culture. Like Sinbad, you know, the sailor, what other fantasy series have we had over the years? Like sci-fi did better, but like Star Trek is really the only one that really went mainstream. Like Doctor Who got a big fandom, but it didn't go mainstream, I would say. But like it was notoriously difficult to get a fantasy show that really became successful and went on for many, many seasons and became a cultural phenomenon for whatever reason, which was sad to me because I love fantasy. But like for Game of Thrones, a fantasy series to reach mainstream pop culture, there's a reason. It's a good show. Freezer's a cooler name, Nemesis. Frieza sounds like a girl. Just saying. Yeah, I mean, at least give it like, you know, watch the first episode of the first season and, you know, see if it's for you or not. Infinity War. Yeah. I feel like Infinity War just released a couple months ago. How long has it been since Infinity War? Like a year? Has it really been a year? Oh yeah, the Red Wedding. The Red Wedding. Even though Nemesis, I had heard about people freaking out about the Red Wedding. Like I was so far behind. Like this is the first time I'm ever going to be caught up on Game of Thrones. I did not see the Red Wedding coming, even though I still didn't see it coming. I still freaked out. I didn't have it spoiled for me, but like I knew like people referenced the Red Wedding and everyone was freaking out about it. That's something that I kind of miss. The experience, the shared communal experience of watching shows in an episodic format, and then discussing and reacting together. Like, for me, Lost was the big one where that's what was going on. Like, every week a new episode would come out, and then we'd have like a week of people like talking to each other and on the internet and being like, oh, you know, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And so the experience transcended just the watching of the actual show. It you know, to some degree became a part of your life. Discussions abound, and when you kind of watch things disconnected from other people, it's more difficult because it's like, okay, well, hold on, you're not at that point in the show yet, so I can't ask you about this or say this. And it just becomes more burdensome and cumbersome to have these conversations. But like, when you have those episodic things and like you have this sort of culture of like holy shit, something crazy happened, and like you're hearing like it's an event, right? It's it's like it was nearly making the news how people are like flipping out together. I don't know. I think it was a cool thing that we sort of we're moving away from with more of like binge culture and stuff. On one hand, obviously it's great to be able to watch a whole show, in a weekend, but I feel you miss out on a big part of the experience. Like, I know some shows are better experienced where you can watch the episodes back to back so you don't forget things, but I don't know. I feel there's more lost than gained in binge culture. And it's not the same of saying like, well, if you don't want to binge, just watch one episode a week, because it's not about, again, it's about the shared experience. I mean, to some degree, it's about the anticipation of the next episode. It's about giving yourself time to reflect, digest the events of the current episode, and ponder on what's going to happen next time. That's definitely a part of it, the anticipation and the theory crafting and all that. But I feel a big part of it is really the part that's most lost is that shared experience. So I'm hoping when we do D&D that we can have sort of that shared experience of like, oh man, like it's going to be at least a week, if not more, until the next episode. What's going to happen? It's like people like, having theories or, whatever, talking about such and such character and whatever. Hopefully we can get stuff like that going. We'll see. 1 year after Infinity War, there was Ant-Man 2, now Captain Marvel. Okay. Mega Joe saying, I love everything medieval. That's why I love Lord of the Rings and Diablo. I think you'll like Game of Thrones. Also, like Game of Thrones is dark. Yeah, it's dark. It's mature, I should say. It's not so much that it's dark as it is that it's mature. Like Lord of the Rings is Lord of the Rings is high fantasy. There are moments of darkness and whatever, but overall, I would say the emphasis is on the high fantasy. Diablo is dark fantasy. The emphasis historically has been on the darkness of the world. I would say Game of Thrones is gritty fantasy. I don't know. It's almost not fantasy. Like, yeah, I guess. What genre of fantasy does Game of Thrones lie in? Is it gritty fantasy? That's not even a genre. It's not grim dark, but political fantasy? I don't know. What genre of fantasy is Game of Thrones? It's a medieval fantasy epic. Right, Lord of the Rings is epic fantasy. That's true. Fantasy drama. It's a fantasy drama television series. Yeah, because a big focus is on the people and what happens to them. So I know this is going to almost make it sound bad, but imagine a soap opera. Like those terrible soap operas that your mom watches. But in a super cool fantasy setting with dragons and undead and good acting and good plots and good characters, and people die forever. Like, your favorite character might die next episode. They're not afraid to kill off people. Not like soap operas where they have the same. So growing up, I would sometimes watch my mom's soap operas, and it's like, wow, 10 years later, same characters, same dumb love triangle, nothing's progressed really. It's just, yeah, no. Shit happens in Game of Thrones. Nem saying, I never got into Lost. Not sure why. I really enjoyed Lost. I know a lot of people kind of fell off of it after a couple seasons. Because they felt it wasn't going anywhere or it just started to get too complicated. But I really enjoyed Lost, and I rewatched it with Bunkisha. She seemed to like it overall. There were some like weaker seasons or weaker parts, but yeah, I think a big part of Lost is it was just the mystery and the intrigue of wanting to find out what happens, but also falling in love with the characters. I really like character stories. I like stories that present characters that we can fall in love with and we care about. And things happen to them and we care about that and we care about the outcome and we care to see that these characters succeed in what they want to do. Shavel saying, the only thing I don't like about Game of Thrones is that if for whatever reason you can't watch the episode when it releases, you have half a chance to be spoiled by social networks by the next day. Yeah. Yeah. Shavel saying, I used to watch if VO or undertitled French. Oh, okay, gotcha, yeah. Grim Dark sounds like a new Pokemon type. Lord of the Rings is just epic. That's fair, yeah. Yeah, epic fantasy. That makes sense, yeah. High fantasy is, well, I guess the setting is high fantasy, but the story itself is epic fantasy. Secret saying, I can understand the spoiler thing. This weekend I won't be able to watch WrestleMania live, but I will watch after work. I'm going to have to completely shut myself away from spoilers till I get home. Oh, yeah. Especially if you have, like, buddies that are, like, into it or, yeah. Otherwise, like, are in circles or internet, like, be it real-life social circles or internet circles where people discuss that stuff. Facebook and whatever, yeah. Now I'm saying Tolkien's Silmarillion, also more grittier and in some cases more depressing, a.k.a. Nerneath Armodiad, Battle of 1,000 Tears. Seen the trailer for Tolkien? No. What is this? Looks really good. Trailer for Tolkien? Trailer for Tolkien. When did this come out? Oh, it's about the life of JR? Oh, I'm watching it now. Wait, this isn't a trailer. Well, hold on. Did it? Okay, here we go. All right. This is the one from February 12th, 2019. Interesting. So it's like a biopic? May 10th. Oh, that's soon. Huh. Okay. That's interesting. I know Tolkien led an interesting life from what I gathered. Could be interesting to see some of that background. Cool. Oh, yeah, I can link it here. Here, I think I could, there you go. I'll link it in chat. I'm not going to risk watching or showing you folks a YouTube video on YouTube. I'll probably get instantly flagged for copyright. YouTube streaming versus Twitch streaming. YouTube is far stricter. And I will not do anything to jeopardize my channel. Yeah. Twitch is yeah, they're pretty laid back. Yeah. Gotcha. All right, folks. So this was great. Had a great chat. I'll try to see why we have this bad video quality. I fear that there's nothing we can do, but I'll try to give maybe more of a heads up before next Q&A. But thanks so much for coming by, everyone. Thanks for sending in questions. And yeah, we'll see you next time. So appreciate y'all. Thanks so much for your support. And have a great rest of your time period of this solar cycle. Goodbye.